All right. What is up, everyone? Hope you're doing good today here. Got a few things to cover before we jump into the chat. First thing first, being there is an update in the Legacy Motor Club versus Rick Ware deal, and it seems to hinge around the wording or perhaps miswording by the lawyers in the contract. Basically, what's up for grabs here is there is charter number 27, which is currently car number 60, leased out to RFK Racing by Rick Ware Racing. And Rick Ware Racing also leasing out charter number or using charter number 36 for itself to run car number 51 for Cody Ware. So two different charters, charter 27 and charter 36 are what's up for grabs. But let's go to this article here from Dustin Long, where he gets into some of the nitty gritty. First off, Judge Smith noted that Legacy Motor Club purchased a charter from Rick Ware Racing for roughly $45 million, which makes it the highest price for a charter so far. So there you go. Your current price for a charter is $45 million. That is how much Legacy is attempting to pay for this charter, depending on how it kind of all shakes out here. Now, he goes on to further sort of explain what I just explained, but I'm going to read it again because it does get a little confusing. The agreement calls for Rick Ware Racing to sell charter number 36, currently used by the number 51 of Cody Ware. However, Legacy MC's attorney noted that the wording in the contract described the charter to be purchased as charter 27, which is also owned by Rick Ware Racing, but is being leased to RFK this year for the number 60 of Ryan Priest. So where that becomes important is Rick Ware Racing wants to use charter 27 next year, or else they would be kind of out of business, which is what this article does say later on. Shout out to Justin Long and NBC Sports here once again for putting it all together for us. And of course, charter number 36 is what's currently being used by RFK. So it gets sticky. Basically, the issue is going to be the wording of this. Legacy Motor Club needs a charter for next season. So they need the charter that is currently being leased by RFK, and Rick Ware Racing also needs the charter that's being leased by RFK because that's what they're going to use next year. You can only lease these charters once every 7 years. So that is basically what is up for grabs. Rick Ware Racing does want to sell a charter, but they just don't want to sell this particular one because it would put them out of business for at least a year until they got back that charter. Of course, the charter is also when they take this charter number 36 back, they're going to lease charter number 27 to RFK. And that is where the wording gets it's going to have to be decided by a judge here because according to Rick Ware Racing, they were selling to Legacy for 2027. According to Legacy, they were selling for 2026. And that is essentially the crux of this argument. Now, a preliminary injunction has been shot down by the judge. So Rick Ware Racing can do what they want to until this thing goes to its hearing or whatever. And Legacy Motor Club has declined to say anything about it because legal proceedings are not finished yet. So that is the latest update. And hopefully I made that as clear as possible, but it is a little bit of a murky situation. But essentially they're fighting over one charter. They're not arguing or fighting over if a charter was sold or not. They're fighting over what year the charter was sold, basically, and which charter exactly was sold. So that is sort of where we're at with that. The other big news is Connor Zilich suffered a back injury at Talladega. When he hit on the backstretch, I couldn't see it from where I was standing, but apparently he hit the inside wall. The inside wall, to Talladega's credit, the inside wall wherever he hit now is going to be redone with a safer barrier or whatever, because apparently where he hit at, if I remember correctly, was not protected. Christopher Bell might have hit in the same spot. I know one of them hit in a spot that wasn't properly protected or something like that. So Talladega is going to take care of that. So that part of it is figured out. But he did injure his back in that wreck, and he was today granted a waiver. So he will be able to participate in the playoffs whenever he comes back. If he gets a win or whatever, however that works as far as that goes. So he's still going to be playoff eligible and all that good stuff. The waiver is granted. That is the poll question because I couldn't really think of anything great poll question wise. But should he be granted a waiver by NASCAR? Yes or no? Of course, we've seen in the past a lot of A lot of people are upset whenever a charter is granted. So that is always a point of contention. And Cletus McFarland, once again, was fined by NASCAR. Now, I found this a little bit interesting because this is the second time in as many races that he has been fined. The first time he was fined because he wore basically a GoPro or something like that, a helmet camera, which NASCAR has deemed illegal because it is a form of data collection, outside data collection that is not within NASCAR's control, and that is prohibited by the rules. However, now that we have SMT data, it kind of feels like an antiquated rule as far as that goes. Now, this time he was fined because of safety equipment. They didn't specify which safety equipment. I don't know if he had gloves or something, or a fire suit that was out of spec, maybe out of date. Maybe his harnesses were out of date. This one's more cut and dry, but that first one is kind of interesting because it seems like not only is that rule antiquated in this era with SMT data and all of that, it seems like you can pull whatever information you want to pull from it, and also with the availability of GoPros and stuff like that, I don't think there's any disadvantage to allowing drivers to have a driver helmet cam. So I don't think that's really going to be a huge advantage at this point. Even the smaller teams can afford a GoPro or something to strap on there. I think that rule is kind of antiquated. But to find, and there's this Cletus McFarland effect is actually the reason I'm talking about this, of course. But you've got this, and Mike Joy came out and talked about it on the Dale Jr. Download. You've got this situation with NASCAR right now where you're having a hard time bringing young fans in. Cletus McFarland checks off the young fan demographic. He is huge on social media, one of the biggest YouTubers out there. He's creating buzz around the ARCA series that the ARCA series has possibly never had in the entirety of the time that it's been around. So what I'm thinking here is, instead of just constantly finding this guy, because it's not going to necessarily hurt him with the younger demographic, because when you're younger you want to rebel. There's a rebellious sense of things when it comes to Cletus McFarland and the younger fans, so it's not really going to hurt him necessarily with the younger demographic. But is NASCAR kind of hurting itself by not trying to at least work with Cletus here, and instead of finding him, maybe have a conversation behind the scenes? No, don't necessarily make all this stuff public, especially for the GoPro that he was essentially wearing. Maybe that's a conversation you have behind the scenes, and you say, "Hey, just don't do that again." There's no need to really put him on probation for the rest of the season because he did it, and just because he's a newcomer to the sport of NASCAR, newcomer to ARCA, he's not necessarily used to it like some of these other guys would. I'm not saying bend the rules for him. What I'm saying is, know what you've got here. Know that you've got a huge commodity that is going to grow a younger market for NASCAR, and maybe work with him a little bit instead of just constantly hit him with fines. Now, the safety fines, that's a different thing. You got to hit him with that. So hit him with a little bit of fine money there. But it's going to, if you keep messing with him like this, especially with the helmet cam situation, it's going to discourage other people that are into NASCAR that would bring that younger demographic to NASCAR. It's going to discourage some of those guys because they're like, "Oh, look what they're doing to this guy over here. He's bringing great press and big buzz to ARCA of all places." And they keep hitting him with these chintzy ass fines that really, it could have been handled a lot better. You just could have handled a lot of this with a conversation behind the scenes. You don't have to just keep hitting him with letter of the law stuff. Which is how it was handled in the past. And that's exactly kind of what it reminded me of. I think Christopher Bell came out and said it last year. NASCAR has gotten too politically correct. If you remember the golden age of NASCAR, you had a lot of personalities, a lot of stuff that the guys did back then that they wouldn't get away with now because the sport has become so politically correct. And I think that is another facet or aspect of it that a lot of people don't really address and look at. When you talk about NASCAR not getting a younger demographic in, it's become so sanitized and so politically correct that there's no markets. You can't really create a market of personalities because these guys are just, they have to toe this politically correct line. You can't say this, you can't say that, you got to act this way and that way. So NASCAR, in my opinion, and I'm just using Cletus McFarland as an example here, is kind of shooting themselves in the foot by not letting the drivers just be themselves. Like, they always have to be worried about this, that, and the other thing. And like I said, a lot of this could have been handled with a conversation behind the scenes, but that's just my opinion on it. And that's the rundown. So let's jump into the chat and see what you guys want to talk about. Let's see, answered some of these. Start off with B here with the super chat. Appreciate it. Fist bump there. Today was 31 years since we lost Ayrton Senna, sending this in his memory. Indeed, one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, to ever do it in F1, depending on who you ask. Definitely one of my favorites. I didn't get to enjoy him for a very long time, basically, and stop watching F1 after he passed, but definitely one of the best ones to ever do it. There's no doubt about that. What a week, BB. 3 live streams. If you like that, give me a oh hell yeah. It says in between the lanes. So there you go. Oh hell yeah. Just for you in between the lanes. It's going to be May. Says it is. It is. Today is, in fact, May 1st. So there you go. Enjoy the beginning of the new month. What's up, PC Gone Rogue? BB is making up for lost time last week, and then some. Says Napa Race Fan. Yep, gotta get the reps back in. It's been 2 weeks. Sort of being out of town, so we're gonna get it back going here. No problem, OJ saying thanks for the live stream. Always happy to do that, no doubt about it. If I made a bologna burger every time BB went live this week, I would be out of bologna. Happy Thursday, everybody. What's up, Cody Ledger? Appreciate it. Indeed, this is third or fourth live stream this week. I can't remember. Do you like the Larson Xfinity scheme this weekend? He always runs Valvoline or Hendrix, but now it's buffalo sauce. It looked pretty good to me. I can't really complain about it. They also are sort of pushing the because Indy's right around the corner. They're pushing the double there, the 1,100. So a lot of good stuff there. Elise dropping the merch link. Much appreciated there, Elise. Shirts, hoodies, and hats. And there you go. There is the link if you want to support the channel. It is always appreciated. Dirty Def. Yeah, the injunction that Rick Ware Racing won this past week is the judge denied Legacy the right to Rick Ware Racing's other charter that is being leased right now by RFK. So there you go, Dirty Def jumping in on what we talked about. Hopefully I cleared it up at the top of the channel. Dustin Long, of course, check his article out. He definitely clears it up. I'm not sure if I was as crystal clear as he was. Definitely think he deserves a waiver on it. I said it right after the crash. He was hurt, hearing the tone of his voice, says Bumblebee. So Bumblebee is in the majority here, voting that he does, in fact, deserve the waiver, and NASCAR should grant it to him. Kyle Rowdy Bush's birthday is tomorrow, says in between lanes. Indeed, it is Rowdy Bush's birthday tomorrow, and he'll be driving this 7-Eleven car in Texas. 7-Eleven, of course, started in Texas. Now it's a Japanese-owned company, but they are doing their deal over there in Texas to honor, of course, being from Texas. And it's a really good-looking car. I'm sure it will be a die-cast, or at least I hope it'll be a die-cast coming up here soon. So good-looking car for KFB. Can he put it in victory lane in Texas? That is yet to be seen. You know how NASCAR could solve the waiver exemption? Just go back to the old system of most points at the end of the season is the champion, says Bruce Carvey. Well said, Bruce Carvey. That's exactly kind of what I was thinking about for sure. No doubt about that. Dirty Def. So does this waiver kill all of Zilich's playoff points because of the new rule put in place in the offseason? I was listening to something today where they said he still kept his points, but is that right? So, yeah, I think on the Cup side, you get it's so weird. I think for this, because it's an injury, because it happened at the track, they're going to give him a waiver and he gets to keep all of his past points. But I think if you get a waiver for something like what happened with Kyle Larson last season at the Coke 600, I think in that situation, you would lose all of your previous playoff points or whatever like that, and you would have to basically get a win and start from there to get into the playoffs is how I remember how they changed the rules. So I think Connor Zilich will avoid that because it happened in a race. But I think if it was a situation like Kyle Larson where he decided to run the Indy 500 and just got there late and couldn't make the race because of rain, I think in that particular situation, you would have to go back to zero once the waiver was granted, if the waiver was granted. So that is that. Let's see. Mike Joy was on the happy hour, unless I missed him on the Dale Jr. My fault. You're right. You're right, One Wise Guy. He was on a happy hour with Kevin Harvick discussing that. I don't know why I thought it was a Dale Jr. download, but appreciate you picking me up there, Mr. Wise. Zilich wouldn't lose playoff points, just possible points he could have scored at Texas, says Napa Racing Fan. Young fans have always been hard for NASCAR to attract, but in my experience, oftentimes kids will grow up with their parents that watch the sport and slowly become a fan, says Dirty Def. So, yeah, that might be one of those situations where you just age into the sport. Like a lot of people grow up and they hate coffee, but they end up drinking a lot of coffee as they get older. It could be something you just acquire a desire for, a like for, fanship for, whatever you want to call it. Rick Allen was on the Dale Jr. Download. Was way more interesting interview than Joy on on Harvick's Unhappy Hour, says Napa race fan. So Napa, not a fan of the Happy Harvick Happy Hour. Or unhappy hour, as he said in this particular case. Work phone, Cassandra, what's up? Hi, y'all from North Idaho. What's up, Cassandra? What is up, North Idaho? B also saying what's up to Cassandra. Days since NASCAR looked like the bad guy, FIA 390. Zero. We have set the timer back to zero. Joy was on the Dale Jr. Previously, but that was last year, says Napa Racing fans. There you go. Mike Joy has been on both podcasts now. But the one I was referring to is actually the happy hour. So one wise guy was right about that. Let's see. C-Bell was at Arlington National Cemetery. So there you go. Christopher Bell at Arlington National Cemetery showing his respects. Pretty cool deal for sure. Hey, Bumblebee, happy spring, says Cassandra. And FIA 390. Appreciate the super chat, my friend. New NASCAR director. Think the show will change. I don't know. I still feel like behind the scenes, it's run by Jim France here. I don't necessarily think that anybody has any real control other than him. I think everybody else is just sort of a figurehead to sort of take slings and arrows for the decisions that Jim France makes. But 100% could be wrong about that. I've been wrong before, but that's just kind of the way I've always viewed it, kind of the way that I've always thought about it. The corporate America got more involved in NASCAR. You saw the sport slowly change a lot of things that made it cool, says Dirty Duff. Yeah. So, and that all began kind of with the Dale Earnhardt Sr. Jeff Gordon rivalry, or whatever you want to call it. That's when it started to become way more corporate. The sport got way bigger during that era, and it became more or less more sanitized. And that's essentially what that rivalry was always about. Dale Earnhardt Sr. was the old guard, and the new guard, of course, was represented by Jeff Gordon, the corporate image, Hendrick. So that played perfectly at that time along those lines. And obviously, at the end of the day, you can judge those two drivers however you want to judge them, who won that. But as far as the cultural rivalry, the corporate side of it won things, and the sport has for sure become more sanitized and more corporate. Dear Elton, 67 passes for the lead doesn't mean the race was good at Dega. Larson leading 400 plus laps alone at Bristol doesn't make the race bad. What made them bad or mediocre is it's impossible to pass, says Napa Racing fan. That's a great point. And we talked about that a little bit on the last live stream, but that's a great point. Like, you can point, there's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. Elton Stoyer pulled out a statistic and told a damn lie because the race was not, from the fans, it was good for me because it was my first time at Talladega. But for everybody else that wasn't experiencing that, it was a bad race because it was really hard to pass. And that's when they were trying to pass, period, because a lot of that race, they were riding around saving fuel. So to call that a good race and to point at a statistic like that to prove it's a good race, to even just think about it like this, to even have to defend it and say it's a good race, it's not a good race because you're defending it, saying that it's a good race. So I thought that was interesting as well. Good call there, Napa. BB with the hat trick this week, says Dirty Def. Indeed. I told you guys I was gonna try to get you more live streams out here, so we'll try to get more of those for sure. Can Steve take Steve and Elton with him to golf with the PGA, says Napa Racing fan. So that's gonna be interesting. Steve Phelps going to the PGA allegedly. So we'll see how it all plays out and what all shakes down. But I don't think anything will really change significantly other than who we shake our fists and scream at. And I'm pretty sure Steve Phelps will be happy to be gone as well. He doesn't have to be the face of any of my thumbnails anymore. He'll have a much lower profile, I'm sure, over there on the PGA Tour as far as people trolling and making YouTube videos about him. I saw on Instagram a post of Kyle Rowdy Busch Skittles Zombie Toyota Camry XSE from 2020 when he won, and in between the taillights there was a 7-Eleven sponsorship. So there you go, 7-Eleven been off and on the Rowdy train at least since 2020. Appreciate you there in between the lanes. And you found what we talked about many live streams ago, where I said 7-Eleven was a sponsor on somebody's car, and I couldn't remember who it was, but it was a really small associate sponsor in between the lanes, putting in the work. Appreciate the assist, brother. fist bump for you for that. Hey, BB, best wishes for a speedy recovery to Connor Zilich. Yeah, for sure. Whenever you wreck like that, look, Talladega, all the tracks are dangerous. Talladega, for sure, one of the most dangerous tracks, without question. And so whenever you wreck there, it's very serious. Even Christopher Bell, even though he's not necessarily hurt, at least that we know of yet, he took a nice lick there as well. So whenever you take a lick here, Ryan Preece a few years ago, of course, we remember that one. But whenever you take a wreck here, it is always serious business. Whenever you wreck anywhere, it's serious business. But Talladega, for sure. And hopefully Zilly recovers very quickly and gets back to his attempt at the Xfinity Series title over there. I am honestly having concerns about SVG. He just simply isn't adapting to ovals. Marcus Ambrose 2.0, road course king, though. Ambrose was as well. Well, it could be multifaceted there. And that was at least with that comment. It could be multifaceted there as far as that goes. It is a new team for Trackhouse as well. So is that is that team up to par for him? Is it all him? There's so many things at play there. It's hard to say, but certainly not having. It is safe to say he's not having the season he would have wanted to have for sure. Curious why. All right, it actually reconnected for once, so we are back on. Let's see where I picked up. Try to pick up where I left off here. Let's see here. Curious why Suarez didn't end up driving the 88 for Zilich instead of Larson. Trackhouse put together the funding for the ride. He even uses a Trackhouse pit crew. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I don't know. Maybe they're just stretched so thin over there. I couldn't have necessarily. I don't know. I don't know necessarily why they're doing that. I don't know. They went with Larson there. I don't know if that's like a junior motorsports pick or if that was a Trackhouse thing. It's hard to call. It's hard to call Dirty Dev for sure. I think SVG is struggling because this next gen car and this new third team, he will be better. Yeah, I'm with you there, OJ and Toothpaste. I think it's just everything is new. The driver is new to the Cup Series, essentially. The team is new to the Cup Series, so it's always something you're going to have to overcome there for sure. Hey, baby, did you get to watch the Jimmy Horton crash at Dega in 1993? I still haven't been able to check it out, Roger Riggs, but let me write it down so I've got a better chance of remembering it here. Let's see, 93, Jimmy Horton. Appreciate you, my friend. I'll try to check it out this time. I actually wrote it down, so there is a chance I will remember it. I do try to get to them, but just things get crazy when I hop off here sometimes, and I forget stuff. So apologies. I will try to get it in and watch it, though. Miami GP this weekend, along with Texas and Barber, says in between lanes. Fox definitely needs to hire Rick Allen for trucks, ARCA, and eventually replace Mike Joyce. There you go. Maybe that's the path for Rick Allen. He replaces Mike Joy at some point. That would be something to behold for sure. Fox needs to hire Rick Allen for trucks / ARCA and eventually replace Mike Joy. It says Dirty Death, can we please have Rick Allen return to the truck booth? Little is not very good. Great pit reporter, but not play-by-play. So there you go. Another vote for Rick Allen to come back for sure. No doubt about that. Seems to be a very popular opinion right now. Allen is too good not to be in the booth and be stuck as a PA announcer, says Napa Racing Fan. Danny Price, you want to see good racing? Go to Gilles Villeneuve and Rene Arnaud at the F1 race in Dijon in 1979. Amazing, says Danny Price. There you go. Want to watch some good F1 racing? Those are the picks from 79. I'm sure they got them on YouTube there. Wrote that one down too, just so I've got a chance. I remember it. This was not a good week for Joey on or off the track, says Jamie Schweitzer. Depends on who you ask, but it is what it is. He definitely got penalized on the track, definitely for sure. Off the track, just depends on who you ask as to who owned who on the Chipper Jones particular incident. But all things. My buddy at work said he expects Joey Logano to win Texas because that's how NASCAR works. Something crazy happens, and then those drivers always end up winning the next race. So Brandon in Burlington, he is picking Joey Logano to win at Texas because of everything that went down last week. I know up where I live, a lot of young racing fans were devolved at our local short tracks because they're all gone now. That might be hurting, devolving the young fans, says Bruce Carvey. That's a great point. The short tracks back in the day used to be crowded. You used to be like standing room only for the most part. So that could be part of it. The pipeline to becoming a NASCAR fan, you're losing it at the grassroots level. Over under on cautions this week at Texas. The last two of the race has had like 15 plus cautions, which is crazy. I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go under 15. So I'll take the under on that one. You know it's bad when they have to pull stats out to prove the fans wrong, says Escobar. Exactly, Escobar. When you've got to defend it and pull stats out to say it was a good race, you know you're fighting a losing fight. You're spot on with the Earnhardt Gordon rivalry was about the time corporate America really started stepping up and the sport slowly started to change, says Dirty Def. Yep. That was a lot of why that rivalry was as big as it was. Shouldn't be a waiver rule at all. The points are the points, says Aaron Flynn. I agree. Season long points would solve all of the waiver issues for sure. Does NASCAR replace Steve? Says Sir Wood Rooster. Hard to say. He got the new title, and now they're going to have to immediately put that title on somebody else. Maybe that's why he got the new title. In between lanes, woohoo! I got a BB fist bump. Says in between lanes, no problem, my friend. I do what I can. What's your favorite thing to get at 7-Eleven? I like the food. Like they've got really good food, fruit cups. You can. It's one of the places you can actually eat halfway decent at when you got to make a stop to fuel up on a long trip. Because they do have, not necessarily everything there is processed, I guess, is the best way to put it. Have you had a chance to hear the back and forth between Mike Ford and Denny Hamlin regarding the cost of run what you brung to race? Mike Ford shot down a lot of what Denny said, says Dirty Death. Well, that is certainly Mike Ford's opinion, and he is certainly entitled to it. And Denny Hamlin, who owns the team, is certainly entitled to his opinion. So, it is what it is. I like Denny Hamlin's final response. He said, "How about we just up the prize money and then we'll go for it from there." So, I don't know. It really just depends on what side of that you're going to fall on. I can see it from both sides. Mike Ford saying there's probably a way to do it, and Denny Hamlin saying that it's just too expensive to do it for one race and lose a chassis, in his opinion. So I don't know. It's all above my head because I don't own a team, and these cars are so much different than anything I mess with late model wise. It's hard to say. Like it's just at that level, it's so much different. Other than to say I can see both sides of the argument for sure. I think it would be cool for the fans if they did it, but cost effective, I don't think it's cost effective. So both sides of the argument both sides are probably right. It's just a preference of what you would do if you were in that position, I guess, is the best way to say it. The side-by-side ads with Fox were ridiculous. However, the Prime ad with Dale Jr. and Letarte was cool. I like the theme for NASCAR on Prime. Up Around the Bend with John Fogerty and Eric Church. Yeah, for sure, man. Credence, anytime you get some credence going, it's a good day. So I'm with you there, Napa. Phelps to the PGA is a classic case of F up and move. F up and move up, says Camaro. That's right. Fail upwards. Fail upwards, Camaro. Whenever you fall down, make sure you fall up. Let's see. PC Gone Rogue says, dang. Will we have a different winner at Texas this week? In the last 9 races, there are 9 different winners, says Dirty Def. So there you go. 9 different winners in the last 9 races. Jamie Schweitzer says you're on the air. I was on the air, but it took away my screen, so I just had to re-up it. But we're back live now for sure. I actually heard someone say that Jamie McMurray should be in the Hall of Fame, says Brian Cranston. Well, I mean, it just depends on the on whatever you're looking at as far as that goes. None of the 9 were the same, says Dirty Def. BB's Connect is not as fast as Xfinity Mobile, says Escobar. So yeah, I don't know what happened there. That was definitely a YouTube glitch on this one because obviously the internet was still up and running, but it is what it is. Have you updated your system? I am not on the newest Apple, so maybe that's the issue. Maybe I need to download the newest iOS deal. So I'll do that after this stream, and hopefully that'll make everything kosher. Will Rain wash out the Cars Tour race at Ace this Saturday, says Tim Brace? That's a great question. If I knew that, I would have a clear picture of what I'm doing this weekend. But unfortunately, I don't. So I hope it doesn't. I hope they get it in for Jason and for all of the Cars Tour gang. Jason and Robert Turner, owners of the track. Greetings from Williamsburg, VA today. Still glad I don't have Blaney in my fantasy, says Bruce Reed. So Bruce Reed not using Blaney the rest of the season because every time he used him this season, he caught the L. Aloha, BB. To you on the big and small islands of Hawaii. Put in the 88 from his time driving the 17. Would it be difficult to find a seat for Suarez on 3 days' notice? Maybe that's the issue. Maybe the seat was already in place, and so they could do it easier that way. That could be it. We don't know. What's the reason Jimmy Spencer isn't mentioned for the booth or pit road reporter? I don't know. Maybe he's out of the game. Maybe he's just been gone from the game so long he's no longer considered for these positions. I don't know. That's a great question, though. He was good when he was doing it for sure. I like the idea of Rick Allen replacing Mike Joy sooner rather than later would be nice, says Jesse Daly. So Jesse Daly preferring Rick Allen over Mike Joy. McMurray in the Hall of Fame would be like if Rock and Roll Hall of Fame put in Cyndi Lauper before Billy Idol and rap groups Outkast getting in instead of the Black Crowes. Wait, that actually happened, says Napa Racing Fan. Yes, politics are always at play with both sides, no doubt about that. It is refreshing to have people like Carson Husqvarna and Cletus McFarland. NASCAR drivers could use a little swagger, says Dennis Gillespie. For sure. And I think that's what Carson Hocevar brings to it. I think Noah Gragson brings that. There's drivers that do it, but they're few and far between. Lakers eliminated by the Ant-Man. Indeed. He's having fun with it too. Minnesota eliminating the Lakers, I think in 5, if I'm not mistaken. McMurray was a good driver, but Hall of Fame, I don't know, says Napa Race Fan. Yeah, I think to get him in the Hall of Fame, it would have to be something like the season he had where he won the Daytona 500 in the Brickyard. It wouldn't be like necessarily just in for driver stuff. It would have to be something special about a season. But yeah, it's going to be a stretch for sure. There's some guys that are always going to be on the cusp. You got to have a Mendoza line at some point. I don't know. That's one I'd never really thought about. The one I think about all the time, who I think is the closest, does Ryan Newman get in the Hall of Fame? I think he's the one that is the most borderline. You could go one way or the other because he's got the Daytona 500s and he's got enough wins to get in because some other drivers that are in there have fewer or as many wins as Ryan Newman has. Ryan Newman is the guy that I'm always like, does he get in? Does he not get in? He's the one that really I go back and forth with in my mind as to whether or not he gets in the Hall of Fame. He's an interesting case for sure. If Byron doesn't win on Sunday, I'm thinking Hamlin or Reddick, says one wise guy. Byron definitely got good numbers there, but Hamlin or Reddick also have good numbers there. Driver averages, your best. They're the way they rate things. They've got Tyler Reddick over William Byron, and then over Kyle Larson. So Reddick, Byron, Larson, Hamlin, and Elliott's is what driver averages are saying are your top 5 there. There's the merch link there from One Wise Guy. If you want to buy t-shirts, hats, stickers, and sweatshirts, check them out. What's better, 7-Eleven, Little Caesars, Papa John's Pizza, or Casey's or Domino's Pizza? As far as pizza goes, I'm going to go Papa John's for pizza. Yeah. Who's the worst out of those picks? I'm still going to say, unless it's the stuffed crust at Little Caesars, I'm going to go Little Caesars. But the Little Caesars stuffed crust is legit, so I can't automatically put them at the bottom anymore. So shout out to Rosie there, who is the biggest Little Caesars fan, no doubt about it. Let's see. BB Discord. There's the Discord link if you want to join the Discord. I believe Busch missed 11 races in 2015, then winning that title. Says Napa. He missed a great deal of races, that's for sure. Reddick with another Jordan brand scheme this week. So there you go. Reddick going to run a Jordan brand scheme. They're always popular when that happens. Question: how would NASCAR learn anything from teams running all different ideas at North Wilkesboro? Wouldn't you need all the teams to be trying something that's on every car to see if it works? That's a great question. I don't know why they would want to see that or not. So, but they brought it up. So I don't know. It's just an interesting thought process altogether. Do you design the stickers on the super chat? Says Aaron Flynn. Not to my knowledge. I don't think I've designed any of them so far, other than the little badges for subscribers or whatever, members. The badges for members are the only things I think I've designed to my knowledge. NASCAR has been paying the winner of the All-Star millions of dollars since 2023, 22 years of inflation, but the payout has stayed the same. Go figure. Yeah, that was probably the greatest point brought up by Denny Hamlin. Aaron Flynn with the super chat. Appreciate you, my friend, saying you are amazing. And I appreciate your support too, as well. Aaron Flynn, you are amazing as well. And thank you once again. There is a horse in the Derby named Daytona. Hey, there you go. Kentucky Derby has a horse named Daytona. So I'm sure just the name alone is going to get some people to put a little spare change on that one. One Hot Night paid $1 million to win in 1992. What is NASCAR doing? Exactly. Since 1992, the purse has been the same. So it is what it is. I know he was injured, but that was a long time off, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, for sure. A lot of people still point to that first Kyle Busch title, and they're not happy about it. It certainly is one of the jumping off points for the people that want season-long points and hate the playoffs. No doubt about it. Imagine if they brought Sammy Hagar back to Texas to play I Can't Drive 55 during the race, LOL, says Napa Race fan. Not him, but they had Motley Crue, I think, at one point start a race. I think, and it, like, they started the race, and as the cars were going by, they cut the mic. They had the band going. I don't know. It was something like that. I clearly remember it. I just can't remember where it was at. How about Larry Mack said today he'll be working later in the season on TV after his Fox stint, but couldn't say who yet. My guess is either TNT or NBC. So there you go. Larry Mack picking up some extra. He's picking up another gig. He's in the gig economy. He's picking up another gig after Fox is done with their portion of the season. More deserving Hall of Fame, Jamie McMurray or Austin Dillon, says Dirty Def. Well, Jamie McMurray's finished driving, so let's let Austin Dillon finish his career. So I don't know. It would I would have to let them both play out. But as it stands right now, I think Jamie McMurray has way more wins. So I would have to give the tip of the hat just based on wins to Jamie McMurray. Austin Dillon still has a lot of career left, I think. Every time I see BB buffering, I think it's Steve Phelps or Elton Sawyer screwing with the stream, or it could just be that I didn't update my newest Apple iOS. That was a good point there, brought up by Wise Guy. That could be the problem. What up, BD? How about all the All-Star race? We run old IROC cars. Evernham would be about that. It will be better racing than the cars on track nowadays, says T-Van. That's probably a good point. Maybe that's something they look at in the future. I don't know. It's interesting which way the sport will go. Larry was previously with TNT, probably TNT pre-race and post-race. They have Letarte during the race, says Napa Race fan. Dillon has a truck and Xfinity title. McMurray has more wins. Oh, good point, Napa. So yeah, I didn't factor that in. I was just thinking about Cup, but the Cup is not the only thing that gets you into the Hall of Fame. So yeah. Oh, that's a good point. So in that case, I'd really have to let it play out. If Austin Dillon can get as many wins in the Cup Series as Jamie McMurray, he might have a legitimate case for Hall of Fame. I agree with Newman in the Hall of Fame. Newman and Kane are both borderline, says Napa Race fan. Yeah, that's another good one. Casey Kane and Ryan Newman. That would be a really interesting one. So I'm going to end this poll and start another one. Start a poll, not a Q&A. There we go. All right. Who of the two do you pick? So, two. Do you pick? Do you pick? Can't type. Newman or Kane? Kahane. I think I spelled that right. If not, oh well. So there you go. Starting the new poll, who do you pick of the two, Casey Kane or Ryan Newman? Probably spelled that wrong, but it is what it is. I don't know how to spell his name. Let's see here. Now that Harvick brought the Charlotte Checkers, bought the Charlotte Checkers, does he buy the Charlotte Knights of the AAA League? They are for sale. I don't know. Harvick Management Group, he's into buying all kinds of stuff. I think he bought it because it's a sports team, and that's a popular commodity right now for people to buy as investors because they just keep going up in value. So that's from what I understand. How does Xfinity work on Earth 2? As slow as possible. Probably the same way they were. They probably are actually fast on Earth 2, but claim to be slow. I guess that would be because everything on Earth 2 would be the opposite. I'm okay with Rick Allen, but just in trucks, not in Cup. For Cup, I'd like to see Wally Dallenbach Jr. back. There you go. Escobar, 1 vote for Wally Dallenbach Jr. Now, Wally Dallenbach Jr., to my understanding, did get out of it because he was tired of the travel. So that might be a harder sell. Harvick bought the Ricky Bobby mansion. He can buy anything, says Napa Racing fan. He's done well with his money for sure outside of the track. Do y'all have a Johnny's Pizza where you live? Great New York style pizza chain. I've seen mostly in Georgia. To my knowledge, I don't think we have a Johnny's Pizza. If we do, it's not near me, or I haven't heard of it. I'm rooting for Toby Keith's horse in the Derby easily, says Napa Racing Fan. So I didn't even know Toby Keith had a horse in the rest in peace. Toby Keith had a horse in the Derby. But for sure, that's going to be a sentimental bet for sure. I'm rooting for the horse named Daytona in the Derby, says In Between the Lanes. I do not remember how many polls that Rocket Man got. Maybe he can get on that for the most polls and most blocks, says Dennis Gillespie. So there you go. Dennis Gillespie pulling out the good stats there. Yeah, called him Rocket Man for a reason. He was always the pole sitter for a lot of these races. Not always, but had a number of polls that one season. I think it was like double digits, well into the double digits. I think Larry Sprinkle should give the command for the Coca-Cola 600, says Jamie Schweitzer. Newman got the most polls when NASCAR had real race cars, said Next Gen. Keith's horse is Render Judgment. So there you go. If you're pulling for the Toby Keith horse, it is Render Judgment. What is the longest stretch of missed races by a Cup driver that NASCAR would grant a medical waiver? I don't know. Somebody said 11 for Kyle Busch, so we know at least 11. They would. You're still okay. NASCAR said at Daytona that they would dispatch the safety vehicles to a wrecked car without having to throw a caution. So why didn't that happen Saturday? Says Dirty Death. That's a great question. I don't know. That's something. Hopefully, one of the people can ask them in the future. One of the reporters that are at the racetrack every week, like a Bob Pockrass or a Jordan Bianchi, Jeff Gluck, somebody like that. Maybe they can slide that question in. Is Dick Trickle in the Hall of Fame, says Jamie Schweitzer. I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame, but I hope he is one day, at least the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I think he's in the Wisconsin. I think he's in some Hall of Fames, just not the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Let's see. McMurray currently has 7 Cup wins plus the 2014 All-Star win. Dillon currently has 5. So there you go. 2 more wins for Dillon, and I easily give him better chances to get into the Hall of Fame over McMurray because of the 2 championships in Xfinity and trucks. Also, Truex was fast at Texas. I expect Briscoe to have a stellar day, says one wise guy. So, yeah, maybe this is a Chase Briscoe win that we're looking at for the Texas race. Tomorrow is Casey Kane Friday, it says In Between the Lanes. Thoughts on lower series drivers making the Hall of Fame? I heard some chatter about Todd Bodine being the next truck driver after Sprague. Todd Bodine getting in over his brother Jeff would be absurd. Oh yeah, that would be good point, Jesse. That would raise a lot of eyebrows for sure. If I give the edge to Ryan Newman over Casey Kane because of his Daytona 500 wins, there you go. The Daytona 500 does still have weight, so that is definitely something you could say there for sure. I love Casey Kane Friday, says one wise guy. Too bad Keith's horse wasn't named something like Beer for this horse. LOL. Some horse names are really weird. They do like to get creative with the horse names, no doubt about it. Bring back the days when the race broadcast opened with a storyline. Old school announcers would be thrashing this car for being off the pace, says Tim Brace. Indeed. I do miss actual storylines instead of just the same old pre-race. Wasn't Ryan Newman an engineer as well? He is an engineer for sure. He did go to Purdue or somewhere like that. It's somewhere in Indiana. I think you're right about Purdue, but my memory might be off. He is an engineer. I'm not sure exactly what school he went to, but I know it was somewhere in Indiana. Did you catch Hamlin talking about the blocking on the podcast? Bubba literally threw 3 crappy blocks in a row, says one wise guy. But I just feel like that's what you got to do. I feel like that's what you got to do because track position, they couldn't pass anybody. So it is a weird situation where track position mattered at Talladega. Wasn't Dick Trickle the oldest rookie? He did. He was the oldest rookie of the year and had a great speech. If you want to check that one out, go look it up. It is on YouTube. Logano was mad at Cindric for driving like Logano, says Napa Racing Fan. Josephus is strong at Texas, says Dirty Death. Indeed. Carson Hocevar is strong at Texas. Did you like Ted Musgrave? Ted Musgrave was a good, solid driver. Was able to show what he could do in the truck series before he retired. So, yeah, Ted Musgrave got stuff done for sure. Newman, 51 poles, Daytona 500 winner, has won in all series, including the modified, says Bruce Garvey. So there you go. Making a strong case for Ryan Newman there over Casey Kane. And right now, Newman, 73%, getting the votes over Casey Kane. Interesting. He smoked in the car, I believe, says Jamie Schweitzer, referring to Dick Trickle. That is accurate. Or David Starr. Who came up with Casey Kane Friday? I don't know. I'm just now hearing about it personally. Newman graduated with an engineering degree at Purdue in West Lafayette, Indiana. So Purdue, West Lafayette. Appreciate you, Napa Racing Fan, for picking us up there. Do you think any driver that DNFs or runs poor would ever say as slow as AT&T, says Sir Wood Rooster? I would hope not, because they might catch a a fine or something, or a penalty, or a cease and desist. I don't know. AT&T would try to do something for sure. Jeff Bodine should be in the Hall of Fame for at least defamation, maybe, or at least on the ballot, not just for his success in Busch/Cup. But he was a legend in modifieds before he moved down to Charlotte. Also, he helped with the Olympic team. So sometimes they put stuff like that in there, contributions to racing. Too bad NASCAR can't return to CBS. Fox has been so bad lately, really, really bad. I agree, man. Fox is just not. Fox for so long was really good, but man, it's just it's hard to see what it has become right now, unfortunately. Let's see. Do you like all the gold Napa cars this weekend? Hemrick, Elliott, Sweet, Ron Caps. I like the way they look. I like gold though, so that's certainly a preference I've got. How is Bodine not in the Hall of Fame? Says Napa Racing Fan. Oh, that's a good question, man. Maybe he rubbed some people the wrong way. You could say the same thing about Smokey Unique. You never know. These things get super political. Bumblebee saying I fully agree. Talking about Jeff Bodine should be in the Hall of Fame. I like the Napa Gold car with caps. Probably best just slightly, says Napa Race Fan. So he's going with Ron Cap's car. Looks the best out of the Napa Gold there. Maybe they can say slower than Infinity competitors, says Charlotte Anders. So Charlotte Ander picking it up with slower than Infinity competitors. I grew up watching Jeff Bodine driving modifieds, won 55 times in a year, says Bruce Carvey. So there you go. He was indeed the man in modifieds. There's no doubt about that. And he could work on his own car too, not for nothing. They said David Pearson would fire one up when he was passing somebody, says Dirty Def. Different era for sure. Handsome Harry is long overdue in the Hall, says Jamie Schweitzer. Hopefully he gets in this year. Jeff Bodine got Hendrick's first win, says Dennis Gillespie. There you go. That's something else to add to his resume. What about ABC Wide World of Sports, says PC Gone Rogue? That would be an improvement over Fox for sure, PC. Careful what you wish for. Usually when we change over, everybody cries and wants the other broadcast, says one wise guy. Yeah, but Fox has really got to tighten up at the end of the day. No matter what happens, they've not been as good as they were. Shout out to Ron Cap, says in between lanes. 3 more races with Fox, Texas, Kansas, and North Wilkesboro. Is that it? Says Dirty Diff. To my knowledge, I don't have it right in front of me. It's a fragmented TV schedule, to say the least. Are you excited for Amazon Prime races? I'm excited to see what they do. I'm hoping they bring some cool aspects and views to the sport, kind of like the CW has. When people can actually watch it, I know some people are still having trouble watching it, but the CW has brought a fresh perspective to the Xfinity series that I think a lot of people are appreciating. I understand Fox has been NASCAR's longest broadcasting partner, but when is enough enough? Talladega was one of the worst broadcasts in recent memory, says Napa Race Fan. Yeah, and I still haven't watched it, but from what everybody's saying, the commercials at the end were really like the icing on the cake, where people are just like they're throwing their hands up in the air, I guess. Oh yeah, Jeff Bodine is not politically correct. He has been very vocal about his criticism about NASCAR. Jeff rubs people the wrong way, says they're deaf. Indeed. And to me personally, I think that's got a lot to do with it. All Hall of Fames at some level get super political, and I could see that being one of the reasons he's not in. I want to see that TNT broadcast. I want to see what that TNT broadcast can do, says one wise guy. For sure. TNT's got a lot to live up to. Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett are not walking back through that door for sure. Larry Mack got cut off strategy talk by the big one montage side by side with 9 or 5 to go. Boyer ranting about Wendy's Baconators and Frosties while the race was happening. Says Napa Racing Fan. Appreciate the bonus stream, says one wise guy. No problem. Politics shouldn't matter at all on a resume. I'm not talking about his politics. I'm talking about NASCAR politics. Like, they don't like what Jeff Bodine's saying. Those are the politics I'm talking about. But yeah, I agree with that. I agree with your other point too. But I'm talking about NASCAR politics. They don't like what Jeff Bodine's saying about NASCAR. Those are the politics I was referring to clear that one up. BB, what corporate sponsors would you want to see replace Xfinity? Busch, maybe Bucky's series. Bucky's would be a cool one. The Busch series would be cool if that came back. Wendy's Yellow hit different. The retro Wendy's, says OJ and Toothpaste. The retro Frosties hit better too, back when there was one flavor option, and that was chocolate. With Richie Evans in the Hall, although strawberry, it was a welcome change. I'll have to give him props on the strawberry as well. With Richie Evans in the Hall of Fame, Jeff Bodine was his biggest rival, like he was Earnhardt's biggest rival. Guess he ticked off everyone, says Bruce Garvey. Yeah, like I said, He said too much. I guess, in my opinion, he said too much negative stuff about NASCAR, and there are some personal grudges being home. I personally think it's time for Boyer to go. Says Napa Racing fan, put McMurray in Boyer's place. McMurray's he's already signed up with somebody, so I don't know if he's going to be able to move up in Fox or not. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Pineapple Frosty is your favorite, though, right? Indeed. I wish it was all the time. The SpongeBob Pineapple Frosty was the best. No doubt about it. Good call, OJ and Toothpaste. I'd forgotten about that. But the SpongeBob Pineapple Frosty, the elite Frosty, regardless of what Moist Critical thought about it, because he's completely wrong. I agree, Napa, says OJ and Toothpaste. NASCAR deserves fair criticism. They do, but they don't like it. So you got to, if you want to get in the Hall of Fame, you got to toe the line, is maybe the message they're sending out there, allegedly. I like Boyer's goofiness, says one wise guy. So there you go. For everybody that doesn't like him, there's sometimes somebody that does like him. So it's all up to your perspective. McMurray is with CW Booth for Xfinity. However, he is with Fox for their pre-race shows. And Fox is where I remember him from. So no doubt about it. Will he be able to move up in Fox, or will he have to go somewhere else to get in the booth? I know he does want to get in the booth, so we will see how it plays out. Pre-race, says Napa. I say get what you might be, a redneck comedian in the booth. Jeff Foxworthy, says Jamie Schweitzer. BB Pineapple on a pizza, says Bumstead. It doesn't bother me, but some people go absolutely nuclear about it. I believe it's your pizza. Put what you want to put on it. So that's just my take on it. I personally, it's not my favorite topping on a pizza, but I've eaten pineapple pizza before. It's not that bad. So it is what it is. BB's first allegedly of the stream, says in between lanes. LOL, I'm the sometimes guy, says one wise guy. Myers pre-race acts so awkward and cringe sometimes, in my opinion, says OJ. Yeah, Chris Myers, he can make things a little bit awkward from time to time for sure. Where you at on Freddy's? I had a concrete custard with a hot caramel caramel tonight, and it was legit. They do have good frost or whatever custards, I guess we could say, for sure. So yeah, Freddy's is good. I just think Freddy's is overpriced. Myers chowing down on a hot dogs at Martinsville was ridiculous, says Napa Racing fan. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of eating while you're on TV. Too much can go wrong there for several reasons. How about we delegate Cletus McFarland to the booth? Cletus McFarland would be a welcome addition to any booth for sure. All right, looks like we've reached the end of it. Final results of the poll question: who do you think of the two? Who would you pick for the Hall of Fame? Newman, 77%, 23% for Casey Kenneth Kane. Do you think Tony Stewart regrets leaving NASCAR, says OJ and Toothpaste? I doubt it. But we'll see. John Bradburn, what's up, my man? If you want to know who wins this F1 race Sunday, just watch pole qualifying, says Bruce Carvey. Blaney for the win at Texas, says Timber Race. Myers does his homework, though. He's a utility announcer for sure. He's a veteran. He does his job well. Warrior needs to broadcast from the infield, says Bumstead. Whose legacy wanting to put in the third charter? Corey Haim would be my opinion. Huzzah, says FIA. No way Tony married NHRA and divorced NASCAR. Peace out, BB, says Dirty Def. All right, that's really going to do it for this one. Until the next one, I'll take them easy. Peace.